Hey, ladies and gents, and welcome back to episode 8 of the Controlled Interest Gamecast, where we talk about video games and everything happening in the industry. As always, I'm joined by Jordan.
Beyond.
And Dominic.
Good afternoon, Jared.
So we're going to get right into what we've been playing. I haven't been playing too many video games this week. Played a couple chapters in Dead Space. I played The Elder Scrolls Legends beta, which I'll talk about later. Played Smite, as always. I actually finished Daredevil Season 2, which is fantastic.
Ooh.
And I think once all of us have caught up to speed and finished both the seasons, I want to have a standalone podcast about it, about the series as a whole and characters and how it relates to the MCU and stuff like that. Thought it was a fantastic series, really good. Yeah, it's pretty much all I've been playing. What about you guys?
For me, super excited to get Ratchet and Clank this week. Finally got around to playing it, and it's... I mean, for a $40 reimagining remake of the original PS2 game, which I love so much, I don't think I really could have asked for anything else out of this. I love it so far, and I'm probably about 5 or 6 hours in. So I've been playing that quite a bit, and then Borderlands as well. I went back to that on PS3. I know I was talking about doing the Assassin's Creed Unity Platinum Hunt, but I think I kind of got my fill of AC from the Syndicate DLC, so I went back to the Platinum Hunt on Borderlands, which I'm only one trophy away from, but it's just taking some time to get to, so been playing original Borderlands DLC, and that's about it.
Awesome. Dom?
Man, you guys are really going back. Dead Space and Borderlands. Shit.
I love my PS3 games, man.
So for me, it's been lots of Dark Souls 3. Lots of Dark Souls 3. I'm pretty far.
Nice.
Took a break to also play a little Ratchet and Clank, and man, I love it too. We're going to talk about it a little later. Otherwise, I'm still in the first season of Daredevil, so pretty soon I'll catch up to Jared. He sped through that.
Nice.
But also, Jordan and I both just finished season 2 of Better Call Saul.
Yeah.
Which we're both pretty high on. It is a, I don't want to say more boring show than Breaking Bad, but quite frankly, I mean, that's the truth. It's a different show.
It's slower paced.
There's not the same kind of action that you saw in Breaking Bad 2 seasons in. There's no There's no Walt throwing down bombs and drug trap houses or anything like that. But it's still really good, so we recommend it.
Awesome. So before we get into the news as usual, we actually got a comment on one of our YouTube videos, and if you guys watch us on YouTube, wherever you guys listen to this podcast and take it in, feel free to comment on our videos. We check them out, and we'll be willing to respond to any questions, concerns, comments you guys have. Langston Gaming actually wrote on our Dark Souls 3 video, Dom's topic, talking about Dark Souls 3 and his early thoughts. He said, I have a question for you guys. Why did Destiny have such a bad rap for not having a more in-depth story? But at the same time, it seems to me that The Division, and from what I understand from this podcast, Bloodborne, did not have a very large story either. Maybe it's just because it's Bungie? ? So what are your guys' thoughts on him feeling as if Destiny got a bad rap for having a bad story and these other games are kind of let free without that burden?
Well, I think the difference here is the fact that with Destiny, there was no story at all, and with these other two games, like we'll take Division and Bloodborne, since I don't know about Dark Souls, but I think they're pretty similar in the way they tell their stories. Wouldn't you agree, Dom?
Yeah, definitely.
But anyways, yeah, the Division and Bloodborne, they tell their stories. They have a story. They have characters, and they have people you care about and events that you care about. But they just tell their stories maybe a little bit different than, a Call of Duty or an Uncharted would. That's more straightforward. So
a little less hand-holding, it seems like.
Exactly, and especially with Bloodborne and the Souls games, it's like very esoteric and very you kind of have to work a little bit to get to the bottom of the story. So
word of the day, esoteric.
There you go. But especially with Destiny, man, I beat the campaign and there was nothing there. Like any characters that were there just never panned out, and you never even learned anything about them that made you care. The cutscenes were like extremely bare bones, and you could just tell like it was a sore lack of effort, especially coming off of these awesome Halo stories that they used to tell.
A lot of people contribute that kind of stuff to them being taken over by Activision, because Activision has its own rep, obviously. Which is funny because sometimes people say, Activision's all about the money. All businesses are about the money. It's about making a profit. That's the whole point. But people feel that Activision rubs them the wrong way about like microtransactions and maybe delivering a product they kind of advertise. Dom, you have any opinions on this? What do you think?
Well, yeah, Bloodborne and Dark Souls in particular, like there's a lot of story there, quite a bit. You just got to find it.
Yeah.
You got to work for it, and you got to read between the lines. I mean, not even read between the lines. You got to like dive in between the lines and pull out your magnifying glass and dig around to figure out what's going on. And even then, it's still confusing. It's cryptic, but it's all there. And if you look deep enough, like it's interesting.
I think it's like this. So, Destiny is there's no chest, right? You walk into a room and there's no chest. With Dark Souls, you walk into a room, there's a chest, and it's up to you whether or not you want to open the chest and dig deeper and find what you want to look for, or you can close the chest and never look at it. But at least the chest is there in the first place, right? Like you have a choice.
Yep.
In fact, there's a massive chest ahead.
The door's locked, you have to pay 99 cents to enter.
Something else to note here is the fact that we got all these court documents, and then we even got leaks on Reddit and YouTube and stuff where we saw all this information about how Destiny was like, especially in its story department, was just ripped apart about a year before it was supposed to come out, the year that it was supposed to come out and a year before it eventually did come out. So they totally changed the game like way close to launch, and I think that's the reason that the original Destiny 1.0 suffered so much and it got 7s instead of 8s or 9s, and how big the response was on Taken King or Destiny 2.0.
Agreed. After getting out of that comment, thank you again, Links to Gaming, for leaving us the comment. That's actually my friend Jeremy. Thank you for commenting on our videos.
Shout out to Jeremy.
Shout out to Jeremy. So the first news story here, guys, Platinum Games president Tatsuya Minami, I'm probably saying that wrong, has stepped down from Platinum Games. So this comes by way of Cal Hilliard over at Game Informer. It says, according to a report from a Japanese website, GameBusiness.jp, Platinum Games president and CEO Tatsuya Minami has stepped down from his position. According to a translation from Gamatsu, Kenichi Sato has been named as Minami's successor. You can find Sato's Twitter account, and then they link to it. Platinum Games is releasing Star Fox Zero on Friday to mixed reviews as a GameCube game. Also has Scalebound, Nier Automata, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutants in Manhattan in the works. So they have a lot of games in the works. And this is kind of crazy. Scalebound was delayed. Maybe he wasn't happy with the industry. Maybe this doesn't reflect the game at all. But a lot of times, whether he wants it to reflect the game, it's going to affect the outcome of the game because it's somebody new in charge, right? How do you think this affects Scalebound and their projects moving forward?
Well, I think Scalebound was originally anticipated for this year, and then they delayed it out of this year. So, like I said before on the show, I don't really consider Platinum to be Platinum. They're more like Bronze. So, their games aren't ones that I'm just super over-the-top excited for.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they make solid games. I am excited to see Scalebound, but I'm starting to get worried about that game for sure.
Dom, you have any thoughts on Platinum having a new leader? Do you think it's going to change their quality of games? Howie Jordan's happy with them?
I don't know. We'll see, I guess. We'll see how much of an effect someone that high up has. I mean, these projects are already happening, right? Like Scalebound's already, like, it's coming out. It is what it is. There's project teams that are working on it, independent of, the day-to-day oversight of whoever, like, the studio head might be. But hopefully it doesn't have a huge impact, or if it does, it's only for the better. They can graduate from platinum, or rather from bronze to platinum.
Speaking of Scalebound getting delayed, another game was actually delayed. Mirror's Edge Catalyst has been delayed. It recently had a closed beta, and they actually made an official message on their own website, which is pretty interesting. And I'm not going to read the whole thing, but they basically talk about how the beta gave them an eyesight into issues they were having. The social play features, which is really weird. It's another game getting delayed for social reasons, i.e. Mighty Number 9, which is really weird. People don't talk about, especially with like Mega Man, same thing with Mirror's Edge. They don't talk about having that experience socially. It's, a unique experience to somebody themselves. It was delayed. It was originally going to be coming out in May 24th, I believe, and it's been delayed to June 7th in North America and June 9th in Europe. They say, we're confident that these extra 2 weeks will make sure the game is as amazing and possible for you, the players. Thank you for all your continued support and excitement. The return of Faith is imminent. So another game was delayed, obviously, Mirror's Edge Catalyst. Did either of you play the original Mirror's Edge?
Nope.
No, but I'm planning on playing it before the next one comes out, if that ever happens.
Yeah, it was a 2-week delay, which isn't seriously bad. But it's weird that they shouldn't have stated it was for social play reasons. They just should have said it was getting delayed 2 weeks.
Sure.
Because now people are going to complain. It's like, why are you delaying it for multiplayer when the multiplayer is probably going to die out in a week? You know, so it's like,
yeah,
they shouldn't have stated it that way. It's cool that they made their own message and posted it on their website and they control the messaging. But it's just weird that they mentioned that. Do you think it's weird for games to mention that they're getting delayed for social reasons, Dom?
I have no idea. I mean, how long was the delay again?
It's only 2 weeks. It was May 24th, and now it's June 7th.
I mean, it's like an Uncharted 4. Quick, I don't know what to make of it. This game wasn't on my radar in particular, but I mean, it's not a big deal, I guess.
I think it's an issue if it gets delayed again, right? That's going to be the issue.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think it's the first time this one got delayed, but
it got delayed from February. It was originally going to come out February 23rd, then it got delayed till May 24th, and this was before the beginning of the year. I think this was still in 2016 or 2015.
So I
forget what year it is.
I'm just not really sure why you would need to say. I guess it's probably a good thing to try to tell people why you're delaying a game so they feel more comfortable about it, but at the same time, I mean, it's your business and you're going to get it out when you can get it out. It's up to you and no one else. So I don't know why you have to tell them, yeah, like you said, Jared, that it's social. You could just say we're delaying it and then people won't be angry if it's for dumb reasons.
Yeah, I guess it's cool that they're transparent about it, and it's not really, it's a lose-lose because like people are going to be mad one way or another for a game coming out 2 weeks later. But hey, that's okay. You have 2 weeks to play everything else you already have, all the cool games. But the next story here is a PSN story. So 5 years after a hack that took down the PlayStation Network, PSN is getting two-factor authentication. It's been 5 years since PlayStation Network intrusion brought Sony's online gaming service down for more than 3 weeks. The result left user data exposed and cost the company $170 million. Sony is now ready to implement two-factor authentication, a process that helps safeguard user accounts from theft. When using that form of login, users need to provide a code separate from a password and generated on demand. So this is a way for them to kind of, get their security a little bit beefier. It's weird that it took 5 years for them to address these kind of issues, but at least they're finally addressing them. How do you guys feel about this announcement? You guys feel safer on PlayStation, that your user information isn't going to get taken?
I don't feel safe anywhere, to be honest. But
Yeah. I
Also
totally agree
accepted that.
with Dom. Yep, I think PlayStation, Bank of America, Target, Walmart, whatever. I mean, if somebody out there wants to hack you enough, they can hack you. So I think that PlayStation, they just had it again along with Microsoft in the Christmas hacks, and I don't think that's changing anytime soon.
I mean, use credit cards on all these accounts, right? Don't use debit cards. A lot easier to get your money back if you have credit card charges as opposed to debit card charges that go straight to your account, right?
It's cool that they're doing something about it. I agree with you guys. I don't think it's necessarily making people feel safer, especially with like the DDoS attacks last week on Blizzard and everything. And it's weird that it took them 5 years to do this. If anything, it seemed like this could have been something you could have announced with the launch of the PS4 and had that implemented. I don't know, just weird. To me, the timing anyways. But our next story, AMD expects $1.5 billion in future revenue for 3 new gaming processors. But what are they? So the PlayStation 4 Neo, which you guys have probably heard plenty about this week, and the Nintendo NX are likely for 2 of these. Who's the third? One can only speculate it's Xbox, obviously. This is a very long article. I don't really want to get into it, but if you guys want to read it, it'll be in the description below on the news breakout on YouTube, and it's by Sam over at arstechnica.com. And, there's rumors of the PlayStation 4.5 Neo. The NX is more than likely going to be launched this year and using AMD. People are assuming, just like Dom said last week, Xbox has something up their sleeve. The interesting thing in this report is it states that one of them is going to be launching in 2017. So if it is how we expect, Neo rumors are it's going to be launching this fall. NX rumors are it's going to be launching this fall. the last one left, if it's the Xbox, means it's going to be the Xbox next year. So what do you guys think about this for AMD, making all this profit off of consoles? And what's your guys' whole opinion on this $1.5 billion in future revenue they have set up?
Well, like I was saying earlier, consoles are keeping AMD alive, or at least to some extent.
I definitely think AMD would be the one to know, since they're putting the chips in the boxes. I mean, they're not making consoles for anybody else. I don't think it's not like, an Apple console or the next NVIDIA Shield. Obviously not, since that would be made by NVIDIA, but, stuff like that. It's not like an Ouya, I guess.
Surprising twist of events.
Yeah, it's
AMD
not some,
GPUs.
random
in
console.
the NVIDIA Shield.
I would like to see what's in each one. Like, if we could have if they could just tell us the 3 different ones and say they were different, and people had to speculate which one was in which. Obviously, wasn't the leak? Did they leak the one for Neo?
The GPU specs?
Yeah.
Yeah, they did.
Okay. So I guess we already know that one if it's the case.
It wasn't AMD that leaked it, but
No. Yeah, but we can assume that it's an AMD, right?
Oh, yeah.
It definitely is.
So we have an idea of what one of them is. So it's interesting. That's a lot of money to be made, and with 3 consoles releasing this year, it's 2 this year and 1 next year. It's going to be very interesting to see how this all shakes out. I'm going to PlayStation Neo just a little bit. We have a couple minutes here left to talk about the news and everything. I wanted to have your guys' opinions on with these consoles coming out. The NX, which kind of falls in its own category, and then the next Xbox 1.5 or whatever that's going to be, and then Neo, obviously. Do you guys think that this is a dangerous game PlayStation's playing? Obviously, if the Xbox 1.5 launches next year, they have a little bit of time to tailor their message, right, and get it across in a way that people like. That is, if PlayStation's Neo doesn't come across as something people don't like. What do you guys think about this whole move towards these 0.5 consoles in the respects of Sony and Xbox?
Well, one thing to mention is the fact that Microsoft really screwed themselves into a corner naming it the Xbox One, which is already a terrible name, but I don't know how they're going to move on from here. Like you're going to call it the Xbox 2, but it's like the 4th Xbox or whatever. I don't know. Xbox 1.5 or 2, it's a lose-lose situation for them naming-wise.
Well, aside from naming, I kind of like this whole concept. Everyone's different, everyone's in different situations, but I like the idea of being able to upgrade to a newer, iteration of a console every 3 years instead of waiting 8 to 10.
Yeah.
I know a lot, this isn't usually how consoles have been, obviously, and so when this first comes out, a lot of people feel, like they're getting slapped in the face because they're used to their console being good for 8 years, and now the perception is that, 3 years later, mine's not even the good one anymore. If you try to detach yourself from that school of thought and just understand that, assuming this is how they do it, that the old consoles will play everything new the same.
But here's the thing: I think it's all about perspective, right? You play PC games, don't you?
Yeah, so that's the thing is there's always been something better available than consoles, right? At the end of the day, though, no matter what the situation is, it's all about how it looks and how people perceive it. It's optics, right? So if people get pissed about this, and it gives Sony that image, whether or not it's a good or bad move for the industry, it's about how people perceive it. So the marketing on this and the messaging is very important, no matter what they do.
Go ahead.
I don't necessarily know that I would want to upgrade every 3 years. Honestly, if I'm going to go from 4 to 4.5 on my PlayStation, it's going to have to be, and honestly, I think Sony would be stupid not to do this, but I think they're going to have some trade-in program where you send them back to Sony, and then they give you the 4.5, because otherwise, if you're not getting it half off or $150, $200 off, whatever, it's just going to suck for all those people that bought a PS3 in the last 3 years. I don't think that's long enough time to expect someone to want to upgrade for the mass market,
Well, and the thing is, too, think about it this way. People are saying that, people shouldn't be upset about this whole PlayStation thing and then coming out with another console. You have your console, you should be happy with it. But then on the same token, they say, Nintendo's screwing over their fans that bought the Wii. and the Wii U. Like, so it's like on one side of it, they're saying that people are getting screwed over because a new console's coming out so soon because that other one was a failure, which I understand the point of that. But then on this point, it's like a new console's coming out and it's okay. Like I think the time frame is the whole issue. With the whole perspective thing, I've played consoles my entire life. I recently got into PCs because I was financially secure enough to buy a PC that could play games the last 3 years. Coming from a console background, I don't want to upgrade every 3 years. If I wanted to upgrade, I would spend money on a PC and I would upgrade parts in it and upgrade that way. When the way people see consoles, and I understand you can change the way people see this, but there's a reason there's two different markets is because people expect two different things. If they were all the same, then they wouldn't all exist.
You don't have to upgrade though. You can still wait 8 years and the games will still work as they do.
Yes, but here's the thing: is like Colin stated this in PS I Love You. They say there's not going to be anything exclusive on the new console. There is. Its performance is going to be exclusive to that console.
And he's also the one that always says that frame rates and resolution don't matter.
I don't think they matter either. I'm in that camp too. I honestly don't care whether a game runs at 900 or 1080. It doesn't matter to me. Is the gameplay solid? Does the game play well? You know what happens when these new consoles come out? Developers get rushed and they have to kind of put these games and they get delayed and stuff happens in the game development process, and you know things like Batman on PC can happen where the game isn't even playable when it launches.
But even on the lower end for the base mode regular PlayStation 4, you're asking, does the game run well? Does it work? And a lot of times they don't. A lot of times you have to wait for the second or third patch before the frame rate's stable, and even then it still dips, and sometimes it's running at 900p instead of 1080. So the PS4 is already struggling, and it's the most powerful of the three.
Yep.
It's already struggling to keep up with the times. So if you're stretching it out and having this higher end version that's pushing the medium even farther, then the base PS4 is going to suffer big time, I think.
That's the biggest reason I'm okay with this too, is because when the PS4 and Xbox One came out, they were already way underpowered. Sure. They were already needing an upgrade at that point, technically.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and that's what's pushing this. And also because they went to this x86 architecture, it's more like a PC, right? That's going to, like, this was their vision from the start, is my guess, is that they were going to have iterations that are, 2 or 3 steps before going onto a whole new platform. Because with this, going forward, everything will still be backwards compatible because of the architecture they're on. They're not going to have this jump from the cell processor in the PS3 to what they have, now, where it was just a pain to move things to the PS3 and can't be emulated going forward because it was so proprietary and unique.
Yeah.
So that kind of stuff won't be a problem anymore. So yeah, I think this was their vision from the start, really.
I have a couple of things to end this conversation with. One, I don't think neither of us are necessarily wrong. Dom, we're in separate perspectives of this argument, right? I think it's a 50-50 thing, really. I think people see it the way you do and people see it the way I do, of like, I don't care about frame rates to the extent of that kind of nitpicky, right? It doesn't matter if a game runs at 60 FPS to me. It might matter to you. That's great. You come from more of a PC console background. You want them to upgrade. I don't really see that. I think what Sony needs to do is they need to shift over that 15 to 20% and make it a 70-30 conversation instead of a 50-50. And if they can do that, then this console launch will be, I wouldn't say console launch, but upgrade launch or whatever you want to call it, will be a hit. I think it's kind of getting that opposite argument and marketing in such a way that people like that. One thing that Xbox has going for it over PlayStation is that they're so in touch with Windows 10, right? Recently, Quantum Break, an exclusive for Xbox, console exclusive, was cross-buy if you pre-order it, which is pretty awesome. So if you wanted that upgraded 60 FPS experience and you're all about that stuff, you'd assume that you have a gaming PC. So therefore, you'd assume that if the cross-buy, if you want a better experience, you play on PC then. So it's kind of an interesting take on that.
The one problem with that situation in particular that I read about recently was it was cross-buy. So what happened was if you bought it on Xbox, they would give you a code for PC, or like the Windows Store or whatever. So essentially what was going on is people were buying it on Xbox and then just selling their codes, their PC codes, right?
Yeah.
So right now, if you want a PC Quantum Break code, you can probably get it like half the price. Sounds like a good deal for us, but I assume that Microsoft knew that was going to be a consequence of that decision. But maybe there's a better way to make it, cross-buy without
Yeah,
allowing
'cause
people to sell their codes like that.
that would be crazy on PlayStation. You know, it's just connected to your account, so you don't have any codes or
Right.
anything like that. I don't know.
Well, Windows 10 is so new though too. Like I think it's them having an issue having that kind of thing linked in. Maybe people aren't super familiar with it, but I do think it might be these two things might be going in separate directions considering Xbox is so closely tied to Windows 10 and Microsoft, obviously, and PlayStation is doing this whole like 0.5 console thing. Who's to say that Xbox is going the same route as PlayStation? It wouldn't be surprising if they did, but it could be that they're going more of the slim route, right? It's going to be interesting to see how these two consoles, if they go in the same direction, it's going to obviously be easier for both of them because you can't argue against, oh, PlayStation's doing this, Xbox is doing that if they're both doing the same thing. But if they go in two completely opposite directions, it's going to find out what people actually want out of consoles moving forward. It's going to be really interesting.
Hopefully it's the same, and that just becomes the new industry standard. That way, it doesn't look bad on either. But we'll see. It's exciting.
Yeah, very exciting. Hey guys, Jared here, and thanks for watching. If you like this video, hit that like button, and if you really like us, hit that subscribe button so you can be tuned in and updated whenever we upload a new video. If you haven't been following us on Twitter, that's CTRLINT, @Controlled Interests. Thank you guys for watching, and see you guys in the next one.